Oh my goodness, 7:59, gotta get this enrichment assignment in. Ready? Done.
Thank God we're done.
Oh my god! It's a mouse! A mouse?
Yeah, a
This
mouse.
isn't a mouse. This is a rat.
A rat?
Yeah. So rats actually originated in southern Russia and northern China, and people have been afraid of them for thousands of years.
So how can I tell this isn't a mouse?
Well, you can tell she's a rat because she's much bigger, she has a much thicker tail, and her ears compared to a mouse's are much smaller proportionally with her head. Now really, there's nothing to be afraid of here. Rats are intelligent, they're not aggressive, despite what movies want to tell you. They're very friendly, and they can actually be quite affectionate. Unlike right now. This is a fancy rat. There are multiple different kinds of fancy rats, but when you go to the pet store, typically they're just going to label them fancy rat. They live approximately 2 to 4 years. And they can weigh up to 500 grams. Now, males are typically larger than females. Fun fact, rats have incisors that keep growing. So they need to keep chewing on things and keep making sure those teeth are nicely worn down. Otherwise, they get malocclusion, which is when the top and bottom teeth don't line up properly. And that's not very fun.
The common rat, Rattus norvegicus, belongs to the order of the Rodenza and the family of the Muride. They originate from Russia and China and have a bad reputation as disease-carrying vermin, thanks to the days of the bubonic plague, among other things. Rats are nocturnal, which means they are most active during the night and not as active during the day. Rats have long bodies and an even longer tail. They have small, bulging eyes and small ears relative to other rodents. Tails are used for both balance and thermoregulation. They are not covered in the same hair that covers most of the rest of their body, except the nose, lips, palms, and soles. They have 2 types of hair, guard hairs and under hairs. They also have very specialized vibration hairs that provide sensory input to the brain. Interesting facts about a rat's insides. Rats have a divided stomach and a very large cecum. They do not have a gallbladder and do have a bone in their penis called the os penis. Rats have brown fat distributed around the neck and the shoulders, which is very important when it comes to thermogenesis when the rat is in a cold environment.
It's easy to tell the difference between male and female rats based on the distance between the anus and the genital opening. With males, the scrotum is typically really easily distinguishable and can be seen in the photos. Jill's 2 rats are both female. Note the short anogenital distance in these videos. Female rats are polyestrous. The estrous cycle for the female occurs every 4 to 5 days. Females give birth to 3 to 18 pups per litter, depending on the breed.
It is usually very easy to distinguish between males and females because males often have a very large, easily identifiable scrotum. That being said, this isn't always a safe way to sex a rat, as males may be castrated or their scrotum may not be easily visible. A couple tips for sexing a rat include the following. Look for nipples, as only the females have nipples. Check the distance between the anus and the genital opening, twice as long as in males than in females. It is not advised to use the visibility of the penis as an indicator a rat is a male, because the external clitoris can sometimes appear somewhat like a penis and may lead to incorrect sexing. Females are polyestrous with an estrous cycle lasting 4 to 5 days. The breeding system of the rat may be monogamous, with one male and one female, or polygamous, with one male and multiple females. After gestation period of 20 to 23 days, the female will spend approximately 90 minutes giving birth to between 3 and 18 pups per litter. Litter size depends on the species of the rat in question.
So how do you feel about rats now?
I'm not sure yet, but if I were to get a rat, what would I feed it?
Oh, here, I'll show you. Rats are actually omnivores, which means they eat meat products and they also eat non-meat products. Now, most pet stores offer a complete nutritious rat food. Now you get this, and it does have everything that the rat needs, but it does also recommend that you feed them fresh vegetables and fruit, but just a little bit, not too much. So for example, I have here some strawberries, some cucumbers, some lettuce, I really like that, and for a bit of protein, because I like to spoil my rats, I'm going to give them just a little bit of egg. There it is.
Wow. That's cool stuff.
So what I will do is give them their kibble, give them some of the fruits and veggies, a little bit of fruit, and just for something special, some egg, but not too much. Let's see what they think.
I sure like that egg. So what about water?
It's actually very important for rats to have constant access to fresh, clean water. Just like this. Here, I'm going to put it on so they can have access to it. So when they're done their snack, they can have a nice, cool drink. Just like that.
Rats are omnivores. Just like humans, rats enjoy junk food and are prone to eating only the tastier components of the diet when given the choice. Feeding rats a diet of pellets or blocks is best to ensure a uniform diet full of all the vitamins and minerals the rat needs. A diet of pellets can be complemented by various fruits and vegetables, although these should not be given in excess, as changes in food can lead to an upset stomach and diarrhea. You should never give your rat cheese, chocolate, or other forms of junk food in excess. Rats should not be given blue cheese dressing, which is toxic, oranges, which can cause cancer in male rats, red cabbage, which can cause gas, peanut butter, which can cause choking, unripe bananas, dried corn, or unripe potatoes, which are not good for them. Rats can be fed fruits such as blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, ripe bananas, apples, with the seeds removed, apricots, and cantaloupe, to name a few options. They can also be fed vegetables such as cauliflower, carrots, cooked squash, cucumbers, lettuce, and celery, although there's not much nutritional value in the last few. Rats can also be given little treats such as a tiny piece of cheese or a single chocolate chip.
It is important to offer environmental enrichment in the forms of objects they can manipulate, so if they can perform natural behaviors such as burrowing and gnawing. Some enrichment items can be provided to rats are wooden blocks or balls, nylon bones, shredded paper shelters, nesting material in shelters, plastic PV pipes, and social housing. One of the most inexpensive and beneficial forms of enrichment for rats is by having frequent encounters and supervised time outside their cage with their handler. bars on the cage are good for climbing.
Rats are very intelligent animals and need to have some sort of enrichment to keep them busy and performing natural behavior, such as gnawing and burrowing. Toys and wooden blocks are great for chewing, manipulation, and mental stimulation. Some ideas for rats include tunnels, exercise wheels, exercise balls, items such as paper that can be shredded, and items that can be safely chewed, such as wood. In order to lead healthy lives, rats should get plenty of exercise. This can be in the form of running, climbing, burrowing, exploring, and just generally moving around. Taking the time to let your rat out of its cage and exploring a new area, well supervised, is a cheap and easy way to provide some enrichment for your rat. It is important, however, that rats be supervised, especially when they're outside their cage, to ensure they don't get lost, stepped on, or eat something they shouldn't. The housing you choose itself should be spacious enough that there is no overcrowding. The cage must be clean, well ventilated to prevent diseases, and have multiple levels to promote a rat's climbing and exploring behavior. It is essential for your rat's health and safety that the cage be escape-proof and not made of or filled with toxic materials such as pine or cedar that could make your rat sick. Some people choose to catch and pick up rats using their tails as a restraint. This can be done by holding the base of the tail to secure them and picking them up with the other hand to support their body weight. Never lift a rat by its tail. In general, be very careful not to pull or twist on the tail. As a general rule, many people choose not to hold the tail at all, as there is always a risk of dislocation or injury of the tail. When routinely handled by humans using the appropriate techniques, rats can easily be restrained when performing examinations. To avoid injury to the rat and handler when applying restraint, remember the following. Gloves can be worn to protect the handler's hands. One of the best techniques for picking up a rat is the scoop method, in which the handler uses one of his or her hands to scoop underneath the rat and support the full body while lifting. This can also be done with two hands, which is actually the preferred method for most people. Chemical restraint can be used if the rat is not cooperating and if it is unsafe to handle the rat. Most rats do not respond to verbal commands, but speaking softly can calm them. Just like with any animal, a rat that has been handled regularly is typically more comfortable with being handled in general, and they are less easily stressed by human contact. One method of restraining a rat is called the claw method, in which the handler holds the rat on the ground with one hand, with the palm of the hand over the shoulder blades, and the rat's head secured between the handler's index and middle fingers. If the rat needs to be picked up and transported, a handler may use either the scoop method, effectively scooping the rat up with two hands under the body, or if the rat is not so cooperative, it is possible to catch and safely pick up a rat by grabbing the rat by the base of its tail with one hand and supporting the body weight with the other hand or forearm. Rats should not, however, be grabbed roughly by the tail or held exclusively by the tail for long periods of time, as this can dislocate the tail or cause damage to the rat. Small rats can be restrained by gently grabbing and holding the loose skin between the shoulder blades, although this is not so effective or safe for larger rats. In order to prevent injury to the handler may hold the head of the rat between their fingers to prevent biting, and may also want to wear gloves. It is essential to remember the small size of the animals you are working with. Do not squeeze, crush, or tightly hold the rat in any way that could hurt them or restrict their breathing.
Some possible diseases you can see in rats include skin disorders, tumors, especially mammary tumors, intestinal inflammation, usually causing diarrhea, and bacterial diseases caused by poor husbandry practices. Most commonly seen in rats are respiratory diseases, which can be caused by a number of factors. Symptoms include labored breathing, hunched posture, sneezing, and weight loss. Porphyrin staining occurs when reddish fluid is secreted from the eyes and the nose. It is a common sign of stress or illness in rats. So if your rat looks like it has a bloody nose, it might be time to get checked out. There are no way to truly prevent respiratory diseases, and there are no vaccines for it. But you can lower the chances with your pet rats after. Don't smoke around your pets, don't use pine bedding or other dusty bedding, because the rats will breathe in the dust, which can make them sick. Make sure you're feeding your rats a healthy rat diet and that the rats get plenty of exercise. Overweight rats may have a harder time fighting sickness. Be aware of your rats, figure out what is normal for them, and take note of differences in their breathing and behavior. The sooner you catch it, the sooner you'll treat it, and the easier it will be to deal with.